I'll give everyone a second to dial back in. I apologize about that. I realized I was in the wrong live stream, so that's a rookie mistake on my part. Rookie mistake. Just call me Cam Ward, because again I was in the wrong live stream. But again, we'll start this live stream. We're going to talk about the Chargers versus the Titans. But again, we'll give everyone a minute to dial in. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out. I'm doing a giveaway to one of those subscribers. It's going to be a portable Bluetooth speaker, so it's actually a pretty cool gift. But yeah, we'll get started with this very shortly. Let's wait one more second for people to be able to dial in. All right, let's go ahead and get started again. Let's talk about the Chargers versus the Titans. Now, I think this is going to be a game that is quickly over, right? I don't think this is going to be one of the more exciting games, but similar to the Packers and the Panthers game, the Titans, besides maybe the D line, they just don't have a single advantage over this Chargers team. Like, if you look at both the Chargers and the Titans team, there's not a single position group that I would say, hey, the Titans actually have a leg up on the Chargers, besides maybe defensive line with Derek. Like, maybe. Like, with Jeffrey Simmons, like, he's a great defensive lineman. The Chargers, though, they're stout on defense. Offense, they're extremely balanced. Again, I don't think there's a single positional room for the Titans that is better than the Chargers. Now, that's not what makes or breaks a team every single time, right? There's culture, there's feel. But a part of that, and another reason why I just don't think this is going to be a close game or be a game for long, is because Cam Ward just seems frustrated out there. Like, I don't know if Cam Ward has any faith in him, in this team, or really just in himself at this point. I'm not saying he's completely lost, but when I watch Cam Ward out there, what I see is just someone that's extremely frustrated. I see someone that just is not consistent week in, week out. I'll see flashes, right? That's what I see out of Cam Ward, is I see flashes, but that's really it. It's a very different feel from who are now the rookie or the sophomore quarterbacks from last year, right? You saw greatness out of players like Jaden Daniels immediately. Sorry, Mags wants to say hello. Everyone say hi to Mags. Want to say hello? Hi. Come on, say hi. This is Magnolia. She's a psycho. She'll visit from time to time. I'm sure you've seen her in my videos. Everyone say hello to Magnolia. But anyway, yeah, I don't have a lot of confidence in Cam Ward right now. He needs more weapons, in fairness to him. Like, that is a real thing for Cam Ward. He does need more weapons. Having Calvin Ridley as your wide receiver one is just a joke at this point. I can't even imagine what is going to happen with Calvin Ridley after this season. He'll probably get a shot somewhere, but it'll be someone slating him as like a wide receiver 3. Probably, like, not even close to a wide receiver 2 even. Again, I would just love to see. I think it would be a win for the Titans if Cam Ward has 3 successful drives. Like, give me 3 good drives. But again, realistically, I just don't see the Titans being able to win in this game. I think the Chargers win this game. I think they win 31-16. So I think it'll be a pretty handily win. That's really where I see it going. We've got a couple more exciting games actually coming up. I know that one, as well as the Packers Panthers, is not necessarily, I think, a suspenseful game or a must-watch situation. I will be honest about that. But again, let's talk a little bit about the Falcons and the Patriots. Right, I think that's something that's going to be an interesting game to focus on for a couple different reasons. So first off, Michael Penix, he is day to day, right? So Michael Penix, I do not expect him to be able to play in this game. I heard he's progressing, but he's just not quite there yet. I do think I do think this is a game where the Panthers, or sorry, the Patriots are going to. I think they're going to have a little bit of a back and forth in the beginning of this game, but I do expect the Patriots to be much more consistent than the Falcons, because that's like the biggest thing about this Falcons team is they're just so inconsistent. Like if you look at how their defense is rated, somehow I still don't actually understand this, but like somehow the Falcons defense is number 2 in the league right now. I don't understand how you can be the number 2 defense in the NFL and have a 3-4 record, especially in the NFC South. Like that does not make any sense to me whatsoever. You know, you look at the teams they beat. They beat the Vikings, the Commanders, and the Bills. Like the Bills are a great team, and they put up 24 points and only let up 14 points against the Bills. And so it's like one of these things where like someone make it make sense to me. Like what is this Falcons team? Because again, if you look at from a statistical perspective, they look like they're one of the top teams in the NFL, but when I watch them, they don't even look remotely close to that. Their offense has slowed down. I will say that. Their offense was also in the top 5. Now they're closer to the middle of the pack. They're probably somewhere around 13, 14. So I think that's a big part of it. Bijan Robinson, the last couple of games, has not been having, the same types of outcomes I would say that they've expected out of him. Like I'll pull up his last 2 games for you real quick. Against the Dolphins and against the 49ers, right? So 2 very different teams. Against the Dolphins, Bijan Robinson ran for 25 yards. And then against the 49ers, he ran for 40. Right? Those are the stats for Bijan Robinson the last 2 games. It's almost like the reverse effect of what Saquon Barkley has looked like out there. So the Falcons, they need to establish Bijan Robinson this game, and they need to establish him in a very big way, because if Kirk Cousins is going to be your starting quarterback in this game, especially if they don't have Drake London, I haven't necessarily heard quite yet if Drake London is practicing again. Let me look that up just to see if there's any updates about that. Drake London. So it's saying that Drake London is actually on track to pace to play in this game. So that will definitely help out this Falcons team, because when Kyle Pitts is your top weapon in a game, when Bijan Robinson is struggling, like I'm talking about in the passing perspective, like you're in trouble. One thing I do have to also talk about this Patriots team, because this team is just playing at a completely different level than I think most people expected. I thought they were going to be a playoff contender. I didn't think that they were going to be leading the AFC East. I didn't think they were going to have a better record at this point than the Buffalo Bills, but they do. They're 6-2, and a huge reason for that is Drake May. Like Drake May is playing at such a high level right now. It's really fun to watch. Like he's 5th right now in the league in passing yards, and so if you actually look at it all, he has 15 touchdowns and 3 interceptions so far in this season. Those are amazing numbers. He has his QBR right now is 118.7. That's one of the best. His quarterback rating right now is 2nd in the league behind Lamar Jackson. His quarterback rating is 118.7. Like that just shows you how well Drake May is playing, and he's had to, because the Patriots haven't really had a run game this year. Last week was probably the first week where Travion Henderson actually looked like he was the 2nd round draft pick that they actually projected him to have. And so in this game, I do think that the Patriots will win this game. It's in New England. Again, if Penix isn't able to play, even if he is able to play, I still would actually put my money on the Patriots. I think the Patriots win this game 24-17. Let's talk a little bit about the 49ers and the Giants. I'll be honest, this game is very weird to me, just purely because, both these teams just have so many injuries. The Cam Scatterbo injury last week, they don't have Malik Neighbors. The Giants are just a young team, and they're missing some really crucial players. And then the 49ers, I think at some point soon they'll be getting Brock Purdy back. It might even be this week. But CMC, he had a really rough game last week. That was that was a tough game for CMC. So like they really need to get CMC going in this game because he truly is the key to the success for this 49ers team. Like if Christian McCaffrey is struggling in the game, the 49ers just struggle straight out. It's very much like the Ravens. Like the Ravens go through Lamar Jackson. 49ers, what happens with CMC is how the 49ers go. Now, again, I think that the Giants, they're such a fun team to watch. Like I would love to see them win this game, but again, at the same time, they just have too many injuries to major players. And again, these are young players, so I think they have a future, but it's not going to be this week. It's not going to be this year. I think the 49ers win this game 23-13. I think they win it pretty handily, even in New York. Next game we're talking about the Colts versus the Steelers. Now, the fact that the Steelers have to play the Colts after losing the last two games, to me, is a tough matchup to have. Like that is a very hard situation to be in. Again, they've lost the last two games, one to the Bengals, the other one to the Packers. So it's not like they were to terrible teams, but again, like they're not quite in a must-win situation. Again, they're still first. They're 2 games above, both the Bengals and then 3 games ahead of the Ravens. But you got to start winning these games because again, there's only going to be one team that comes out of the AFC North. I said that earlier. I don't know if the Steelers defense is going to be able to stop this Colts offense. This Colts offense is so balanced right now. Like Jonathan Taylor playing at an MVP level, Daniel Jones also playing at an MVP level. Like both of these teams, like both these players are having such a big impact on this team. I love what Tyler Warren has been able to do for them. Michael Pittman has been a solid receiver, and then their defense is just solid. They've only given up 154 points on the season while scoring 270. That's a 116-point differential right there. Like those are crazy numbers. And so, again, 7-1. Going into Pittsburgh, I don't care if it's in Pittsburgh. I know that the Steelers team is desperate. I just find that this is going to be a tough game for the Steelers because of how balanced this Colts team is. TJ Watt better be able to pull some miracles out. That's really what the Steelers are going to be banking on if they want to have a chance at winning this game. I think the Colts win this game. I think it'll be close, but I think the Colts win this game 24-20. Again, when you hop in here, make sure you comment and chat. Tell me what game you're most excited about. There's one really big matchup that we have yet to talk about. We'll get into very shortly. Also, make sure to like and comment on this channel. Tell me what you think about my content, good or bad, doesn't matter. Let's just have some fun. Next game we'll talk about the Broncos versus the Texans. So, first off, the Broncos, they've hit their stride already. The combination, it's very obvious to me that Bo Nix working with Sean Payton is a match made in heaven. I think that's a very obvious statement at this point. CJ Stroud is coming off of probably his best performance of the season. I don't think there's any denying that. But again, this Broncos team, they're just playing at such an elite level. And the Texans are very one-sided. They don't have a good running game right now. They don't have a good running game, and their pass game has been inconsistent at best. A lot of that has to do with the fact that they just don't have a good offensive line, which leads me to the most obvious fact, and it's the fact that the Broncos defense is one of the top in the league. So the best defense in the league, in my opinion, and a lot of that has to do with their pass rush. I'm not sure how this Texans team is going to handle the Broncos pass rush. I expect Nick Bonito to be getting to CJ Stroud on a pretty regular basis in this game. I really do, whether it's sacks or just causing pressures. Like I think he's going to be back there pretty often. And so again, I find it really hard to believe that the Texans are going to be able to find a way to win this game. So I see the Broncos winning this game in Houston. I see the Broncos winning this game 27-20 in a very balanced attack between J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, who's really coming on recently, and then again Bo Nix. He's looking like one like that sophomore class of quarterbacks between him and Drake May. It's really tough to choose like which one I would take over the other at this point right now. I'll be honest. And so, I can't pick against the Broncos right now at this point. Let's talk about the Jaguars versus the Raiders for a little bit. First off, both of these teams are coming off of byes. I don't think this is going to be one of the more exciting games of the week, if I'm being completely honest. I think this is a game where if I'm the Raiders, I'm just going to hand the ball off to Ashton Genty 25 times in this game. 25, 28 times. Just see what he does, right? They haven't necessarily tried that yet, at least on a consistent basis with him. Let me kind of pull up his stats right now. Let's see here. Let's pull up Ashton Genty. So Ashton Genty right now, he's 18th in the league. He has 445 yards on 111 carries, right? Again, in pretty much all of his games, let me pull up his game stats. Game logs, perfect. So the most carries he's had in a game is 23. He's had 21, but those are the only two games where he's gone over 20 carries. And so, again, I think this is a game, you're playing the Jaguars. Your season at this point is pointless, right? You're in the AFC West, who is just way too packed with good teams. Give the ball to Ashton Genty 25, 30 times in this game. Just see what happens. See what you have, because Geno Smith isn't the answer. I wish he was, because I actually loved how Geno had sort of like a resurgence in his career. I loved what he was able to do with Pete Carroll in Seattle, but that does not seem to be the case here in Las Vegas. I think a big reason for that, and in fairness to Geno Smith, I don't think he has good weapons besides Brock Bowers, and so that's a big part of this. But still, like this offense is not going to win you games, and so you really do need. You really just need to see what you can have out of Ashton Genty and what that sort of offense could look like if you're just a run-first offense. Now, on the other side, it's the same thing, right? The Jaguars, when they win their games, it's when Travis Etienne is successful in the run game. Travis Etienne, to me, is the key to this offense, because Trevor Lawrence really struggles when it's just him having to pass the ball. Like, he needs a balanced offense. And so I do expect that both these teams should be game planning a very run-heavy offense in this game. And when it comes down to it, if they do that, I do think the Jaguars actually have the edge in this situation. I'll actually take the Jaguars winning in Las Vegas 20-13. I don't think it's going to be a pretty game, but I do think that the Jaguars will win this game. Again, I think it'll be 20-13. Next game we're talking about, the Tyler Shough show, right? Tyler Shough getting his first start as the quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately for Tyler, his offensive line is extremely depleted. They have so many injuries on that offensive line right now. I think it's hard to even suggest that the Saints will have success against this Rams team, who, again, are also in a very tough division and have to keep winning in order to stay at the top of this division. Because, again, even though the 49ers are injured, they keep winning. The Seattle Seahawks, they're the real deal. We'll talk about them more in a little bit. But again, that NFC West is a tough division. And I just don't have much hope for a rookie quarterback in his first start. Again, with a terrible offensive line that's extremely injured. Their defense is very much inconsistent, right, at best. They've shown flashes of making big plays. I think they caused a lot of turnovers. I believe it was against the Bears. But really, ever since then, they haven't been able to do much. So I think the Rams win this game. I think the Rams win 28-10. Now let's get into the actual game that I think will be the most exciting game of the week, and this is the obvious one. We're talking about the Chiefs versus the Bills. So first off, if you're in here in chat, tell me who wins in this game. Who wins in the Chiefs versus Bills game? Are you taking the Chiefs or are you taking the Bills? Make sure you put that into chat. But I'll dive into this. So first off, again, I think this will be the game of the week. Both the Bills and the Chiefs are in interesting positions that they haven't been in quite some time. And what I mean by that is both these teams are not leading their division currently. The Chargers and the Broncos are ahead of the Chiefs. And then for the Bills, the New England Patriots are actually in first place in the NFC East. I can't tell you the last time that both of these teams were not, or either one of these teams at least, were not first in their division at this point in the season. Like this is very new, uncharted territories, and so it's kind of crazy to say and call it cliche, but it's kind of a must-win game for these two teams. Like I'm not saying like it's like make or break, but it will mean a lot to both of these teams if they win this game. And if you lose this game, that's really going to hurt you from a playoff perspective, because right now both of these teams are probably slated for a wild card spot. And so you're going to want to have these wins, because you don't want to have the tougher road in that situation. You don't want to have to match up against the Colts in a divisional game, second round, right? You want to have as best of an opportunity as possible. So in this game one, the Chiefs defense are very exciting to watch. I think the Chiefs defense are a huge reason that they're actually having, the win streak that they're having. Patrick Mahomes is also playing at another level. Don't get me wrong from that perspective. But, to me, a big reason why the Chiefs are in the position they are in is because of their defense. The Bills, they give up 150 yards on the ground. Now, that is not as daunting or as scary to me, just purely because this Chiefs team cannot run the ball. Right? I'm already actually on this rushing leaders list. Isaiah Pacheco is 28th in the league right now. 28th. Right? That's like he's behind running backs like Alvin Kamara, who's not having a great year, Jordan Mason, Corey Krosky-Merritt, Tony Pollard, right? Isaiah Pacheco is not having a good year whatsoever right now. And so the Bills defense struggling from that perspective, you have to wonder if they're really going to try to game plan for Isaiah Pacheco in this game. If you're the Chiefs, like, are you going to try to use Isaiah Pacheco more than you normally would, or even Kareem Hunt? Because at this point, the Bills defense, where they're strongest is in their pass defense. Their pass defense is second in the league right now. And so you're talking about a team that, the Bills, that give up 20 points a game, and most of that is coming off of ground yardage, right? And so the way they match up is just so interesting. Now on the other side, the Chiefs don't really give up a lot of rushing yards, and so they're going up against one of the top rushers in the league right now in James Cook. They give up 100 yards a game, so that actually in a little bit does favor James Cook, and I think that gives James Cook the edge. I would expect James Cook to be able to have more yards than that in this game. But again, compared to the 150 yards that the Bills give up, like, it's not even close. It's night and day. I'd love to see. Let's just talk about. I would love to see a throwing match between these two quarterbacks. Like, I think that would be the most fun thing to see, is if Mahomes is just slinging it down the field, and Allen slings it down the field. I will say that Josh Allen isn't having the best couple weeks in a row. I know he had a bye prior to last week. But, even before that, like, he wasn't playing. He didn't play well against the Falcons. And so you need to see more out of Josh Allen in this passing offense in this game. And for that reason and that reason alone, I actually am projecting the Chiefs to win this game, even though I believe it is in Buffalo. Yeah, this game is in Buffalo. I think the Chiefs win this game. I think they stay hot. I think they win this game 27-24. I think it'll be a close game. But I do think that the Chiefs end up winning this game, just purely because I think they're just a little bit more balanced. I think that's a huge aspect of this, is, they're, from a defensive perspective, on the offense, right, being able to pass the ball. Again, the fact that the Bills' run defense is struggling, I think will make Pacheco have a better game than expected, or what he's been doing. So I think the Chiefs win 27-24. All right, let's talk about the last game I'll talk about on this live show. I'm talking about the Seahawks versus the Commanders. And I think the short and sweet of this is if Jaden Daniels isn't healthy, this is going to be a very tough game for this Commanders team. McLaurin might be out. They're saying he re-injured his quad. Deebo Samuel probably had one of the worst games of his career last week. I do not expect that to continue, but it probably does mess with his mental a little bit. It probably also makes Marcus Mariota a little bit hesitant to throw him the ball when he's letting the ball hit off of his helmet and go into a defender's hands. Like, I also just think that this Seahawks team is just very similar. Like, maybe the theme of this week's show is balance, right? But the Seahawks are an extremely balanced team. I hate to say it, but it's true. If you look at the Seahawks team, they have a solid run game, and they're also very successful in the pass as well. Kenneth Walker, he's got 430 yards on the season. And, it's not like he gets all of the snaps either from a run game perspective. Zach Charbonnet, he's got 205 yards. So there is balance to that from a run game perspective. And then from a receiving perspective, Jackson Smith-Njigba is leading the league in passing, or in receiving. He has 819 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season right now. He's averaging 117 yards a game. So again, having the top receiver and then also having a balanced run game as well, and then top that with the defense that this Seahawks team has, like they're not tops in the league in pass or in, I would say, in rushing, but they're just balanced overall. Like, let me pull this up real fast just to kind of give you an idea of where they sit. So the Seahawks, so they're in 10th, right? The Seahawks defense, they're in 10th place in just overall total defense, right? They give up 305 yards a game, and they only give up 19 points a game. So again, if this Commanders team does not have Jaden Daniels back, that makes this team, it's not even one-sided, it's no sides, because the Commanders also can't run the ball that well. They're not a consistent run team. I know Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, I talked about how he was ahead of Isaiah Pacheco, but that's not saying a lot right now. So again, I just think this is a really tough game for the Commanders to have, especially if they don't have, if they don't have Jaden Daniels in this game. I think that the Seahawks win this game, even in Washington. I think the Seahawks win 27, and I think they only give up 17 points. I think it's a 10-point game, 27-17. If no one else has any comments, anything you want to say in chat, I'll let everyone go. I do appreciate everyone joining today. Thank you again for watching. I'm sorry that I had to switch streams in the middle of it. This is your host, Bad Takes, with Bad Takes in Football.